Hello. If you're able to, please close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Unclench your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Take another breath in and another breath out. You can open your eyes now. My name is David, and welcome to Mindful Moments. Today it's only right that I say hello and welcome, because this is the first mindful moment in long form. You might be watching this on YouTube. You might be listening to this wherever you get your podcasts. But however you're hearing me, I want to say thank you for being here. A bit of context to me and who I am. My name is David Larby. I'm 25 years old. I live in London. I'm a content creator and have been full-time since September 2021. And Mindful Moments is new to this, but not new in general. I started Mindful Moments back in January 2022. I'd been a content creator full-time for 5 months, and I wanted something that would give some structure to my content, because I do a lot of things. I'm a musician as well. That's how I started content in the first place. I do some comedy, some fashion stuff, and I did every now and then a mindfulness video where I would just talk about how I was feeling at the time. Someone suggested to me that I turn the mindfulness videos into a more regular thing as a check-in with my community, which I really loved the idea of. So I started Mindful Moments January 2022, initially on a weekly basis. I posted a 1-minute video where I talked about the thing I was thinking most about or feeling most from the last week. And I was very quickly surprised by how difficult I found it to keep this up on a weekly basis. Not because I didn't have the time, not because I didn't have the ideas, but because I found it really difficult to speak about how I feel that regularly. For someone like me, that's very strange. Not necessarily strange, it makes sense if you think about the context. What I mean is, for someone like me, you would think that it would be easier because I have a wonderful support system. I exist in an area where male mental health is really spoken about a lot. So you'd think that I had the ability and all the resources necessary to speak about how I feel regularly. But it's one thing telling someone to open up and be vulnerable and to talk about how they feel. It's another thing for that person to have the tools to do so. There is a big disconnect between an emotion and a thought, and sometimes even a bigger disconnect between a thought and the spoken word. How do I put what I feel into words, and how do I do it regularly without feeling like I'm being self-indulgent or like I'm being weak, essentially? And I'm someone who would always tell people to open up, always tell people to be vulnerable. But you can't really tell someone to do something that you know you can't do yourself without telling them how they're supposed to get from A to B. And I still don't have any of those answers. I don't. But I've been trying. So that weekly series, I made it every other week. That helped a lot, spacing out what I wanted to say and what I wanted to do. And another thing that helped a lot was that every time I posted the video, even if it didn't really do well metrics and numbers wise, every single time I posted the video, at least one person would comment or message me saying, "Thank you so much for saying that. I really needed to hear it." That alone made me feel like this was something worth continuing. When you're able to do something that people find it difficult to do, it shows that it's possible, even if you don't feel like it's easy for you to do or like it's possible for you to do very often. And so Mindful Moments, of all the content that I make, is probably, I feel, the most important and the one that I'm most invested in. And honestly, if you look at it logically, clearly it's working. It's helping. This time last year, if you told me to do this in longer form, I would have panicked. I wouldn't have been able to do it at all. Whereas now, thanks to over a year of posting these snippet videos regularly, and being able to talk with my community about how I feel more regularly, I feel comfortable enough to do this for longer than 1 minute. And that feels good. The structure of these will probably be, I'll speak from anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes. Don't hold me to that, because sometimes I might have less to say, sometimes I might have more. But I'll speak for somewhere between 5 to 20 minutes about the things I've been thinking and feeling from the last week. And this series will be weekly because I had the time, I had the resources, and finally, I feel able to. And that feels wonderful. So today I owe you a very big thank you for tuning in for number 1. I was very nervous about making this, but this is the first time recording this that I feel good about this idea. So thank you very much for joining me. And I'll close this, as I always do on Instagram, I will now, by saying whatever you're doing this week, I hope you have a wonderful one.